Got those floor joists all cut off this morning. I measured out 6 inches off the 2x12 on each end, chalk line to bottom, and then just leveled up from the chalk line with a level on each one, plumbed it, cut them. And then I just screwed a couple pieces of wood here on the outer edges so I'd have something to set that on. I've got one screw in the middle now, and I thought that I could pull it on each end and get it pulled down into place so it's flush with the tops all the way down, you know. I thought if I'd done the middle first, then it would give me a little leverage to get it pulled into place from each end. So anyway, that's what I'm working on right now. And then I think we're ready for railing. I've got the first 2 of these screwed in. I'm making sure the bottoms are flush. And then I'm putting a square up here and making sure the tops of the floor joists are square and not tipped one way or the other at the top. So these 2 were fine the way they were. As I look at this one, it's going to have to pull over a little bit. Probably try to get a big crescent wrench or a pipe wrench or something on top of it just so I can move it some. And this also needs to start dropping down some. And I think if I unscrew that support board I put up there, I think this will probably drop down enough to get this one. Then we'll just pull it down into place and then work our way down the other side. That bottom's flushed off real good now. The top of that floor joist needs to pull over probably about 1/4 of an inch. I can do it by hand. So scribe a little line right there to keep our screws all in a row. That looks real good. Next one looks good, at least on the bottom. It's pulling up kind of hard. I'm going to have to use a hammer. This one here is not quite flush on the bottom, but there's not going to be anything I'm going to be able to do about it. I'm just going to screw it. And that's all my drills got. We're getting about done on this side though. I got to check the tops of these two and then get this one screwed out on the end. Then we'll work our way the other direction. I got some poles cut. These are 4x4s. I'm going to build a railing off of them. I want them to have a 36-inch railing, and I want it to lap down to the bottom of the 2x8s. Then I'll notch the floor around them so I can get them in there real secure, you know. Ended up, those are 43¼ inches. So I've got several of them up there. Those are on 5-foot centers. That was 180 inches across the front. So it worked out right on 5-foot center. And this one going back here to the block wall, that's also 5 foot. So everything is spaced evenly up there so far. And I just held them up there, and I've got them in place with like 2 screws in each one. I've got them plumbed up both directions. If you look at the bottoms of them, that one's sitting right in the corner. That one worked out to set right in a corner. That one did not. That one's in a corner. But I'm going to come in on the back sides of these and cut me another 2x8 and come up this way with it and sandwich them in there. And that'll give them some support on the back side. So I want that railing strong, you know. But anyway, I was in town yesterday and I bought a bunch of lag bolts. Those are galvanized and washers. And this morning, I've been bolting these in. I've got 2 of them done so far. And I'm just keeping my bolts spaced evenly. They're 1.5 inches from top, bottom to center, and then plumbed up in the middle of the pole. And I'm just making sure my posts stay straight as I put them in there. And then I'll get the backing in and make sure they're plumb the other direction, which right now they are. But I'm going to continue getting my bolts in here. Those are feeling really strong, the ones I've got bolted in. They'll get even better after I get the 2x8s on the backs of the poles. The strongest way to have done this, obviously, would have been to have attached a railing to the supports that come up to hold the roof. I know that. Problem is, I'm not ready to do the roof right now. It's going to be like this for at least a year before I can get to the roof. So I need a railing on there now, you know. It gets pretty scary when you're standing up there. I've been up there and it looks like a long way down. But when I do put the poles up for the roof supports, they ought to come right up on the inside of my railing, which at that point I probably could anchor to them as well. But I think this is turning out pretty strong so far. I'm going to continue to get this bolted together, and I've also got some bolts that I'm going to bolt the 2x12s into the 6x6s. While I'm drilling holes and bolting, I might as well be doing that too. So I think I'll go ahead and get that done. Maybe get my other angle in there that I screwed up on the other day. And then move on from there, I guess. See what happens next. Nice day today though. I got a chair setting up there. I was actually setting up there last night. I just got some deck boards stirred up there. I got a really good view to the north. It's quite nice. Right there is plumb. I got 3/8 bolts. This is like a 1/4 inch bit. I've got it marked up 1.5 inches here from the bottom and from the top. Hold that so it don't move. .9/16 socket on this impact driver. I've just been running these in until I can see the washer sink into the wood just a little. Right there. Check for level again. Make sure nothing moved, or plumb, I should say. That looks real good. Right on the money. I'm continue doing this till these are all done, and I'll get you guys back in here. I'm drilling these holes now through the 2x12s, and then I'm putting all thread rod through and nuts on each side with washers and cinching these 2x12s into the 6x6s. Well, got 3/8 bolts. I'm using a 1/2 inch bit, and I put this extension on thinking I could go clear through, right? My boss here, my chuck that the bit fits into, it's more than a 1/2 inch diameter. I don't want to go with a bigger bit. I don't want a bigger hole. So this comes about 1.5 inches from reaching. So what I've been having to do is drill my holes really straight and then do the last little bit from the other side. And I've left this in here because if you've got a long extension in here like this, it is a whole lot easier to keep your drill straight. You can sight down that and find level much easier. So far I've got 2 of them done, and it's worked really well. And I don't think I would be having the same luck if I didn't have the extension on there. So if you ever find yourself in a situation, I've done this many times, an extension does help to get your hole straight. So anyway, I'm going to continue on here. I've got 4 more to do on the front. These will get done eventually also. I don't know about today, but eventually, you know. But I want to get it done here where the railing's going for now. Got these marked out. I'm coming 2 inches from top and bottom. So I can look at that and see the same way this way. Battery's dead, and I just hit a screw. I'm gonna have to pop out on the other side, I'm thinking. Beautiful. Two dead drill batteries. Anyway, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee. I've got a third battery, I think, in my flashlight, my Craftsman flashlight, but I'm ready for a break anyway, right? All right, guys, I'm up on top of the deck. These boards are just laying up here. They're not screwed or anything like that. I thought while my drill batteries were charging, I'd go ahead and try to get these marked out. The first two boards will be notched around the poles. So I've got this one marked out. I want them to overhang 1.5 inches. So I've got that where I want it here. That end down there I'll cut. I've got a couple lines there at the time being. What I'm doing, make sure this board is pushed up to the pole. Then I'm just taking a level down the side of the pole and then marking it like that. That way, if your pole's got a little twist or unevenness or something in it, it's going to fit just right. Whereas if you squared it just off the edge of this, it may not, you know. So we'll mark these out, and then we'll make sure it overhangs the front 1.5 inches so it's like the ends. And then we'll get our cross mark on there. And then probably notch them out with a jigsaw. And I'm not real good with a jigsaw. When we cut these, we're going to be cutting on the outside of the line to give ourselves a little bit of room. I don't think I want them to fit too tight that it's going to be hard to get in there. Probably just kind of cut right down the middle of the line. That'll probably be my best bet. I just don't want to have to cut it twice, you know. This end here, I'm going to make sure it fits, and then we'll cut that off afterwards. But right now I'm waiting on drill batteries to charge. So let's figure out where we got to be with our cross cut. That's going to be 1.5 inches. You better check them though. Sometimes, yeah, I'd say that's exactly 1.5 inches. We want it to overhang 1.5 inches. So we're going to have 3 inches of wood left here in the front. Let's get a mark on there. I put an X on all the parts that are getting cut out. It'd be real easy to get confused here, because this board is not going to be setting where it's at. It's going to be sliding in from the front. But I measured 3 inches back and drew that line. But then also what you can do is measure off the back side of your pole and see if it's the same. There I've got 6 3/4. And here I've got 6 3/4. So we'll keep checking it like that, because once again, the pole could, you know. That overhang looks real good. Just eyeballing it down through here. It looks about like I expected it to. Coming up above, I got a little bit of gap on this side, whereas that side was tight. Looks good across the front. I don't know how that happened. Doesn't it on both ends, but it's not too bad. This one here worked out just right. That one looks real good too. Then we get to here, I got the same situation where I got a little gap on this side and tight over here, but that's good. I mean, I don't think anybody ever gets it perfect, do they? But I like it. I got to get my blocking in behind these poles before I put the next board on. Then we can go for a while until we get to that next pole. Cut all the blocking here a little bit ago. I said in that last video I never used 1/16 of an inch measurement on stuff like this. Like this one here was 14 5/8. The next one was a little bigger. I just wrote 14 5/8 plus. It'd be a waste of my time to write 14 and 11/16 there. But as long as I know what the plus means, 5.5 plus 5.5. So we get these blocks screwed in there, and then we should be able to put the next deck board down. This one was the 5.5. Get something in there and pry that up tight, and then we'll get some screws in it from all directions. I have to bring a crowbar up here. I think the next one was the 14 5/8. Yeah, that looks like it's going to go in there real nice. $14 5/8 one. I just dropped her through. I'm gonna have to put the camera down for this, but you guys get the idea. We'll get them in there and then notch our next deck board. Got all the bolts in across the front of there now. Should all be pretty good. Let's go upstairs and take a look. Got all my blocking cut and put in on the back side of these posts. And I can't imagine what I could have done to have made that any better. That's about as strong as you're gonna get it, probably. Got this other board notched out. Let's see if we can get it in place real quick. Look at that now, would you? That went in there pretty good. We'll get some screws in that guy. Now we'll be able to go with some deck boards right up to that pole. We can move right along here for a while. Trouble is, going too far because I'm going to be running out of screws. I'm still working on the same box of screws I started with. I think that's pretty good. But I didn't get all the deck boards yet anyway. Probably go to town tomorrow. I think I'll buy 2 boxes of screws. Rest of the deck boards. And by the next video, we'll have a floor on this. Anyway. This pole here, I just put a couple blocks on either side of it. And I think that'll be pretty good after the floor's all tied in. Right now it's a little wobbly, but there's just nothing out here to hold it much. We might try to get a couple bolts in from that side. I don't know if we can with the downspout being there. We might try. We'll see what happens. I got screws there now. This pole here I haven't got in yet, but I've still got to get this cap on here that goes between the siding and the roof. And I think it's got to set flush. I got to carry it up here and try it. I've never put one on before. But right now I've got I've got that much overhang right there, and I think I'm gonna have to take a grinder up here and split that off. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. I got to get that on before I can put these deck boards here, because they're gonna have to notch around it. So I suppose that's gonna come here maybe today. Just wanted to show this as I'm putting the deck boards over. I got the second one all screwed in, but the way these 6x6s come clear up to the top, they're right underneath the deck boards. That'll give me a real good place to put a post anchor, you know, to get my roof supports on. They'll be set right on top of the main supports. So it's kind of what I was thinking when I done that. Try to get another board on here. Next board, it curls out a little bit on that end. It's pretty good down here, so we're gonna start putting it on there where it's good. I've got this end flushed up. I just took a level and put down it. We're gonna attach it until it starts getting to where it's pulling out on us, and then we'll get a screw or something in there and get it pried into place. I'll show you here in a second. I'm gapping these boards with a real thin finish nail. I think that's a number 8, number 6, something like that. I don't want much of a gap, because as I dry out, they're gonna gap a little bit anyway. But if they end up being too tight, then you can't sweep the dirt out of the cracks. So I just try to put a little bit of gap there, like what, a 1/16 of an inch or something? Try to anyway. So let's continue on down like that. We're good right there, so we'll get a screw. Okay, I got it screwed down that far. As I said earlier, this board wants to come out like that. So as I get to the next one, I've got too big of a gap here for my finish nail. So what you want to do is skip down a couple, set you a screw so you can put your hammer claw in there. And pry that in. It's gonna take me 2 hands, but I'll end up holding the hammer, getting it pried over to where my finish nail fits, and then setting a screw. Okay, by doing that one time and prying that over, I was able to get 4 of them. And now we're gapped again. I got a little gap right there. So I've set another screw. Gonna pry it over again, continue on. All right, got our finish nail there, got our gap. We're to the end now, it goes the other way. Now we're too tight. So we're gonna try to force this out a little bit. We've got 2 more screws to get in there. Took that crowbar and got in there until I could get my finish nail pushed back in. Now we got our gap back. So we set these last 2 screws. Should be where we need to be. I got the 3rd board on. As suspected, I just ran out of screws. I've had mess with this end cap for a while that goes along the edge of the roof. I got that at Menards. I kept looking at what I had on this building, and that stuff leaves a big open void there on the ends, and birds get up in there. I was always going to get up in there and try to slice that and kind of bend it shut some way to keep the birds out. As I was looking at how that was made, I kept thinking that this overhang I've got here, that would work if it looked like what's on the existing building. Well, this new stuff isn't like that. It's got a set flush, but this is a whole lot better. That's gonna fit tight up against there. There's not gonna be anything getting in. So I'm glad this is the way it is. And it makes me think I would be better off to get more of this stuff eventually and just replace that all the way around, you know, at some point in time. But anyway, as this stuff is, I'm gonna have to cut this lip off of here, so I got the roof flush with the side to get that to fit right. These are 12-foot long pieces, so I'm gonna have to put it on in 2 pieces. Of course, starting with the bottom, and then the top will overlap it. I'm gonna cut enough of this off to where I can get the bottom piece in so I can take care of these boards down here. And then we'll do the upper piece after we get the floor down here and we got some place to put a ladder. But I'm gonna take a grinder for now and just start cutting this and see if I can get this to fit. That pretty well goes on there now. I got some cutting to do down there on the corner. I need to get at least 1 screw or something in it so it'll hold itself there. That up to there. I got just 1 screw holding that right now, but that fits really nice now. It goes right up against the ribs, you know. But let's see what the end looks like down there. There's going to be some trimming and stuff to do down there, I think. I need to get that done before I secure it all the way. That looks like right now. I wonder if I can get that to drop down another ½ inch, just so it kind of comes past this. This all needs pulled up tight, but do just a little bit of trimming on that. Pulled that down a little bit, and I got it coming to the edge of the drip edge better. Put a couple marks on it there. I want to cut that and see if I can get that looking a little better. I just put a little fold in it right there, so that's not. Let's try to fit this back up there and see if it looks any better. That's where that folds at. That does look a little bit better. Got kind of a gap here. And I got a raw looking edge right there I don't like. That's all screwed on there. Looks real good. We'll take care of the top later after we get the floor on there and it's easier to get at. But stand back here and take a look at that now. That looks real nice. That really does. It really finished it off, and yeah, I like that. Sunday morning. I'm basically out of material. I'm gonna have to go to town today and get more stuff. For one thing, I don't have any screws. But anyway, thinking about this railing, the cheapest way to do it is just buy those square deck spindles, you know. But I got another idea I want to look into. I'm going across town where I used to live. I've got some old like steel cemetery fence, like ornamental looking stuff. It's got a little design on it and that. It probably came from around a cemetery or something, but it's like early 1900s stuff. And you know, that building's early 1900s. It was built in 1911. I'm thinking maybe if I could use that cemetery fence for like inserts in the railing and then frame it in with wood, maybe I could make something look really cool, you know, like it's always been there, kinda. But I haven't looked at this fencing for years. I've got it stacked up out back here somewhere. I know I've got enough of it, but I don't know what kind of condition it's in. And I don't know how tall it is. It might be too tall. So I want to go over here. If it looks like it's even worth messing with, I'm going to grab a piece of it and just bring it home and kind of test fit it up there and stand back and look at it. See what I think. Because if it's not going to work out when I go make my material run today, I guess I just buy some of the deck spindles. And if you start getting into the more ornamental, like turned lathe spindles, then they get expensive. I don't want to do that. But I want to do something that's going to look good, you know. One time, I can't remember it, but there used to be a house right there. There's part of the chimney sticking up out of the ground. When I bought this was all overgrown with brush, and I didn't know any of this was here. And if you start looking, you can kind of see perimeters of where the foundation of the house used to be. There's some bricks sunken down in the ground. It was a real small house, but anyway. Here's that fencing. I've just got it leaned up here. That appears to be in pretty good shape. I've definitely got enough of it. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 pieces of it here. I thought maybe it was going to be all rusted out, and I haven't looked at it for years. Let's just grab one of these and take it home and see how it cleans up, see how it fits, see what we want to do. It's buried down in the mud. Maybe the bottom rail's rotted off. I'm gonna have to have both hands the bottom of it. It all looks pretty good. That's really thick stuff. Stuff's really heavy. Here I'm messing with heavy stuff again. I got a piece of that cemetery fence set up there. It's got that cast iron ornamental piece in the middle. I've got 10 of those. So I would have enough to get that all the way up there in all 5 areas. And should have the ornamental thing in all 5 areas. I gotta say, guys, I just thought of this yesterday. I forgot I had that stuff. I love that. That looks better than anything I could have built or any kind of spindles I could have bought. And that fence would be like early 1900s, turn of the century probably. That's the era this building was built. It just looks correct. It looks, you could imagine that always being there. I get that all cased in and framed out with wood, with a wooden top rail and stuff. Paint it black. I think that's gonna look awesome. And if you look up at that top row of block on the building, let me see if I can expand this. See them ornamental things up on that top row? I think it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm really liking that. This whole place looks like 1911 right now. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. We're getting kind of long again. Seems like these garage videos I just keep going and going and going. But deck videos, maybe I should say this time around. Anyway, I'm gonna go to town today, get some more material. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Thanks to all the subscribers. Please like, share, comment, all them things. Jeremy, catch you on the next one. Later.